Hey YouTubers, today on this edition of the Paddy Wagon, special shout out to David at Rambler's Rest. Some thoughts about my excursions yesterday with my dad and my son Scott, and some updates on the coach. Okay, so yesterday you were with me when we went to Rambler's Rest and dumped the tanks. It was my first time doing this. Now, I've been to Rambler's Rest before. This is probably my fourth or fifth time there. And every time I've gone there, the staff at Rambler's Rest has been wonderful. The resort's a beautiful place, and the people have just been mega friendly. Yesterday they had a huge flea market out there, so there's a lot of activities going on, and we were just excited to be able to be at that resort. Special shout out to David, who was at the front desk yesterday at Rambler's Rest and did a wonderful job helping me get acclimated and situated for my dumping excursions, if you will, and also helped me with some potable water. Obviously, my son Scott had some fun with that video, and kept saying in his subtle way, every time we talked about potable water, kept showing the sign of, this is not potable water. Nonetheless, we had a great time yesterday, and it's very exciting to get finally through that task, which I was kind of dreading a little bit, and I think we did pretty well. RV Adventure said, thanks for a fantastic video. Thank you. That means such a great deal to me. I put these videos out, and I hope that people are watching them and they're gaining something from them. So thank you very much, RV Adventures, for that. Very much appreciated. Thank you also to my subscribers for hanging in there with me. I know my videos haven't been the best, and I'm still working on that free GoPro software. So I really need to get some new software, and I promise you that I'm planning on doing that soon. And in the meantime, please bear with me as we move forward with trying to be a little bit more creative with the videos and a little bit more exciting, if you will. So at the beginning of the video today, I told you about moving into the bedroom. So here we go. I've actually moved. Oh, I should have made the bed before I slept in the RV last night. And it was great. It was comfortable. It was very nice. Now, this mattress is a little bit big. I've lost probably about 4 or 5 inches from the walk around here. As you can see, it's pretty tight to get around. It was a good sleep, and I really enjoyed actually being in the RV. The weather in Florida has been beautiful, nice and cool. I suspect that that's probably going to change and probably get warmer again. But it was nice to hang out in the coach and sleep here last night. I didn't have any air conditioning. I really didn't need it, which was nice, because I still don't have a 30 amp hookup at my house. So I'm just hooked to a 110 right now. Okay, so I wanted to kind of go over a little bit with you some lessons that I learned yesterday. I think the biggest lesson is to not be so nervous. Everything I do with the coach feels like it's the first time for me, so it makes me nervous. Driving the coach, I'm still getting used to it and building my confidence level. You have to remember that the coach has been in the service shop for almost 3 weeks. Yesterday I realized that my temporary tag is outdated, and I think in the entire 4 weeks that I've owned this rig, it's been home for probably about 8 days. So getting out yesterday, driving in traffic, working the brakes, because as you know from previous videos, I've been very concerned about the brakes. Yesterday I had to stop fast, and it did. It stopped beautiful. Boom, right there. So that kind of built my confidence a little bit. I'm not so nervous in traffic anymore. I still think that you have crazy drivers down here in Florida, so as a result, you have to be on the lookout. You may have remembered from the other videos that I've had some tree branches scraping the side of the coach, and then yesterday when I was pulling in to get the potable water, we almost took off the air conditioner from a big low hanging branch. So fortunately Scott was paying attention, because I would have never known that it was too low. And so So there's some lessons to be learned by all of that. I think also working with dumping the tanks, the big lesson I take away from this is making sure that you have the proper equipment. The connections into the sewer, or into the septic, I guess the sewer, that I came with the coach were not really adequate. My poor dad had to stand, basically put his foot on the dumping tubes, hoses, to keep them in the septic line. So I think that's a lesson learned. So I'm going to go get some more equipment. I thought, of course, I had everything I needed because I did get a starter kit, but the starter kit wasn't sufficient. And then I think you also have to pay attention to how your coach is set up. You know, in this case, it's a Winnebago, so my gray tank and black tank levers were very close together, and some of the fittings that I did buy for it didn't fit. And you know, again, something that you figure out as you go through this. I think I probably am going to need to have a little bit more tubing, and I think the other big thing is you have to be so careful with cross contamination. I had a freshwater filter that got contaminated yesterday, so I had to throw that out. And my dad was crazy clear about making sure that you don't cross contaminate things. He even called me on the phone after he went home. He said, I just want to remind you, you got to be really careful. That's human waste. You can get all kinds of diseases, which of course I know. But I think you get so wrapped up in the process that you tend to forget that your hands are filthy and contaminated. And of course the clothes you're wearing are contaminated, the shoes, everything. So you should probably have a special set of clothing that you have for this, because in the event that you do get stuff on you. Now fortunately yesterday we didn't get anything on us. Everything was contained in the tubes. But I did have some, I did use the hose for the non-potable water to clean the hoses out. So nonetheless, I think everything worked out fine, but that's a lesson learned for me. The other thing is getting gas and looking at clearances, making sure you know how tall your rig is, because you don't want to get into a situation where you actually do damage, the RV itself, or damage, a business property. So I think that's real important. It might be a good idea for you to write down how big your coach is in terms of height and width, and put that up in the cockpit, so that it's there as a constant reminder for you that for example, like my coach is 12 feet 10 inches, and I need a clearance of at least 13 or bigger. So that's a lesson learned. Getting gas. That was no big deal, except for how much it cost. I only put, I think, 30 gallons in my coach because that's all I really needed. I'm not going on any big trips right now. I mean, I am planning a 4 or 5 or 6 day excursion locally, but I don't really need to have any big gas at this point. I run the generator about once a week. I run it for an hour, put it on a full load, and then I turn it off. So the other thing I think I've learned is propane. Evidently, you needed some kind of adapter, because when we went to go get propane yesterday at the U-Haul dealer, they didn't have the proper fitting. Apparently they had a couple of them, but from what I understand, they left one of the fittings, or a couple of the fittings apparently, on other RVs when they were filling up the propane tank. Another thing I've learned is the leak in the back is not related to the water connections. I believe that the seal in the toilet is probably deteriorated or broken down, and when you flush the toilet, that's when you have a leak. So clearly that's not good. Fortunately, we haven't used the toilet here, so all that's leaking out is actually fresh water flush. So at this point, I've got to get that fixed. So I'm going to be tearing that toilet apart here very soon. I'm not a good person to start a project and then leave it for a week, so that will probably be a project that I start next week. I think in some of the YouTube videos that I've seen, people talk a lot about RV lists and things that need to be done to their coaches, and I have a list as well, and I have about 10 or 11 things on the list of things that I want to do. you know, they're not things that impact whether or not I can live in the coach or I can stay in the coach, but it clearly are things that I need to do. So I like to replace the carpet. I like to, you know, get some of the border off in the wallpaper. I need to, you know, get a 12-volt TV, so I have some kind of TV in here. So those kind of things. I need to put in the siphon 360 on the vents for the gray tank and for the black tank. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about, you know, in terms of things that need to be done, but they're not going to impede me from taking a trip or doing what I need to do. So yesterday was fun. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it. It was nice hanging out with my dad and my son. And I hope you enjoyed the video as well. If you have suggestions for other newbie types of videos that you'd like to see, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to accommodate. Thanks so much in YouTube land, and you guys all have a great day, and thanks so much for subscribing. I appreciate all of my subscribers so much. I can't even tell you. Thanks so much, and have a great day.